Hello, everyone. Welcome to our extended pregame show here on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez here with you tonight. I am live at East Food Hall. Jason's in
I
a
am not.
secure location.
It's hermetically sealed right now because,
Yeah,
as you know,
non-COVID illness, right?
as you know, when you have kids, that
Yep.
you tend to get every illness under the sun. And my son brought one the other day, and it hasn't been a fun 24 hours. I'll tell you that.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Yeah, we're just playing it safe here tonight, so we'll still bring you, of course, all the fun here from Wells Fargo Center, where the Flyers are back tonight for the second half of the back-to-back against the Anaheim Ducks. This is actually a pretty busy stretch coming up here for the Flyers. They've got 5 games in 7 nights starting yesterday, 8 games in 13 nights from yesterday until the end of next week, which will then lead them into the All-Star break, which they will definitely need after they are done this run here, because there is a lot of hockey to be played. Of course, the Flyers kind of took one on the chin yesterday to the Boston Bruins, 6-0. I was remarking to somebody downstairs that I can't believe that game was yesterday. It feels like it was a long time ago, but yeah, it was just yesterday afternoon. And so the Flyers looking for a bounce-back game tonight, and I think we're all expecting that kind of, Jason. I think we got an idea that these guys who are going to come out with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and be trying to rebound from that contest last night in Boston.
Well, the other part of it, too, is, the Flyers, like you said, played yesterday in Boston. It was a day game. It was a 1 o'clock game, so they were done a little early, so it's not your traditional back-to-back. But the Ducks played last night, too. They started out their road trip last night in Pittsburgh, but they played at night.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you look at, it's not who you play, it's when you play them and your situation and their situation. Second game of a long road trip for the Ducks. Flyers coming off their worst defeat of the season. And it took overtime to beat them last night. Pittsburgh won it in 4-3 in overtime over the Ducks. So they pushed them with all they had, but the Flyers looking to push them around today and get back in the winning column. And that was towards his whole message post-game, wasn't it? About can't chew on this one any longer, can't do anything about it. All we can do is react to it and respond to it. And he was pretty clear in his post-game presser. He wasn't going to dwell on it. He was going to move forward and see how his team responds.
Yeah, he's was saying to us earlier before the game that it's those are that we get the chance to talk with him before most games, and it feels like these guys these days have a pretty short memory. They don't seem to really let anything affect them too long. But you know that when a team comes out and has a game like yesterday, they usually bounce back pretty strong the next day. The thing about yesterday's game that kind of took me in a different direction was that that game was a 6-0 loss, and a 6-0 loss is a 6-0 loss, but they didn't play as bad as a 6-0 loss suggests. Flyers, I thought, had a pretty decent game overall. They had a good start, and then a couple of goals that went against them. The first one they kind of gave them, and then after that, a couple of goals where didn't get a 10-bell save from their goaltender maybe, and it's kind of snowballed from there. But it did so against a very, very good Boston Bruins team. So it's just a matter really of looking at that game as it's a good Bruins team, and you're just going to come out and try to restore a little pride, so to speak, as opposed to trying to fix any sort of huge issues that led you down that path.
Well, the big thing too is they know what it feels like when they're playing well and they're getting a good result. And as Stuart said, the radio's on, which means the music in the locker room, and guys are having fun, and they want to get back to that right away. They don't want this to linger. They want to get back to, keep it enjoyable at the rink, because any NHL player, any pro sport, pro athlete wants to win, and it's just not as fun. Like, we kind of look at it and go, "Oh, you got all the money in the world, you're fine, right?" Well, it doesn't work. They're not wired that way. The money's great and it's a byproduct of it, but they want to win, and it's a lot more enjoyable to go to the rink. They're a lot more enjoyable to be around, as we found out. Just not that they're pains in the butts when they're losing, but nobody wants to talk at that point,
right?
And you tend to get chalk, and everybody comes a little bit chattier and having a better time. So it stands to reason they want to get back to that as quick as possible. And they got 2 opponents in the Ducks and the Blackhawks this week who are doing everything they can to lose games and have done a good job doing it.
I am a little concerned about this Anaheim team with what we saw last night against Pittsburgh, though. It's hard to go through an entire NHL season or even a month looking as bad as Anaheim looked when the Flyers were out there over Christmas. I mean, that was probably the worst game from an NHL team I've seen in a long time. But it looks like Anaheim might have a little bit of swagger left, or a little bit of swagger back, I should say, after an overtime loss, but a pretty close one to Pittsburgh yesterday to start this road trip. They're kind of seems like they're kind of looking at this as a situation where they're just kind of not really that they have much to escape in Anaheim, because it's not like they have like any sort of intense media coverage like Toronto or anything like that. But, they're looking at this as a chance to get away and kind of regroup. And they had a good start yesterday in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And they started out their road trip well. And, sometimes when you've got 4 regulation wins in 44 games, you need to get out of town.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of it for them as well. Just get out of town, get away from. I doubt there's a ton of noise in Anaheim right now, but it's still getting out of town and getting with the boys and doing whole thing. And they got some talented players. I mean, it's not like they're devoid of talent. I mean, they have what a lot would argue is one of the really good, exciting young players in the game, in Trevor Zegras, who tries to pull off the Michigan goal whenever he can. So he, they got some talent there, but they don't have the depth in roster, and they're a team that I don't think, Bri, that they're really being held to a high standard of play night in and night out, and that seems pretty evident.
Yes. Yeah, which is a little surprising to me, given what Dallas Eakins had a reputation for in Edmonton. There was all that talk about even the media. They took their donuts away in the morning and put veggies out instead, or some silly stuff like that. It just seemed to me like he was a stickler for detail there, and getting things done the right way. And I don't know why that's not translating over into Anaheim, but he seems to be kind of a dead man walking, for lack of a better term. That it's just kind of going through the motions there for some reason.
Well, yeah, they're a team that is obviously in transition. They're moving off from the Getzlaf era. You got to think, if Ryan Getzlaf was still there, that this wouldn't be this bad. To have that leader there, that holds the room accountable, it wouldn't be this bad. But the fact of the matter is he knew something and he got out before he had to be more of a cop than a hockey player. So, yeah, I mean, it's not good there right now, and they're going to be in that mix, obviously, with a lot of lottery percent chance to try and land that number 1 overall pick. They didn't get it in 03 or whatever it was after the lockout, 04, because they lost that. I guess I don't know if it was a coin toss then or what it was, but they ended up with Bobby Ryan, and Pittsburgh ended up with Sidney Crosby. How'd that work?
Right. Yeah. There you go. Right. It was it's just all how the luck falls sometimes, and some people see that as a flaw with the draft. That something as simple as a coin toss can dictate that, right? I mean, that's 2 franchises that a coin toss or whatever it was sends your trajectories completely differently, as opposed to teams being able to compete for them. I don't know. It's a little bit.
Bobby Ryan was thought of well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was a high prospect, but he wasn't Sidney Crosby.
So was Nolan Patrick.
Yeah. I mean, think about, what was it, 07, 08 or whatever, 07, that draft, and, the coin toss that was lost to Chicago, and they got Patrick Kane. Yep.
So, it seems to just be kind of a part of what we do these days, and for better or for worse, that's probably how it's going to stay. We are leading up to our joining of the radio network, which Jason's going to take us into that, because I can't hear them.
Yeah, we still got about 10 minutes for that.
Our little bit of our unusual setup, but we are live with you here at the East Food Hall. At least I am. Jason's off-site tonight, but leading you into Anaheim and Philadelphia here this evening. And it is Pride Night here with the Flyers, so we've got a lot of stuff going on with that. Flyers are wearing their Pride Night jerseys here for warm-ups, and those will be available via auction in the very, very near future, so you can look for those. Pretty sharp-looking threads here. I can't even see them. I don't know if you have a way to see them. I saw them in the locker room before the game.
Yeah,
they
look cool.
Basically with the rainbow numbers. They're really, really sharp looking.
Yeah, the numbers pop so much with the black jersey and the rainbow numbers. So yeah, I think they look great and great initiative. I know Scott Lawton and James Van Riemsdyk have really embraced the Pride, you know, uh, the Pride initiative, and it's good to see that they're doing it tonight and they're having the Pride night there once again. Although we do have a shock in warm-ups, by the way.
Yeah, I
That
think that's smoke screen. From what I'm
Overall?
told, anyway. Yeah, he's still playing. I don't know what's going on with why he's not in warm-ups, but I got a text 5 minutes ago that he's still playing, so I don't know what's going on. John
Wow.
Tortorella told everybody there were no changes to the lineup, I don't know what the issue is there, but our understanding is he's still in the game. I don't know exactly where he is at the moment, but
There's no NHL rule on that, is there?
no,
Yeah,
no, you can punt warm-ups.
yeah.
You just have to be on the lineup card, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want to because you got to get your body ready to play.
Yeah.
And you know how NHL players are, they're so fickle about their handle and going through their process, and it's so regimented and all of that. But yeah, no pro rough and warm up. Braun's taking warm up and taking the D rushes with York, Sanheim and D'Angelo, Sealer and Ristolainen. And, the one thing we talked about yesterday post game, Bri, was would Ersing get this game still? And my thinking was, and I said it on Flyers Daily, was this was always his game. So he's probably going to still get it and stay in their goalie rotation that they kind of planned out for the week. And it will be Ersing tonight against the Ducks. Carter, I think, will probably go Thursday, and then they'll split the weekend games.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying earlier, everybody's going to get to play quite a bit here with 8 games and 13 nights. Two back-to-backs, this one being tonight, and then there's one this weekend. And then they've got, not a back-to-back, but a pretty long travel trip for an Eastern Conference team when you are talking about going first to Minnesota and then on to Winnipeg. That's not the most fun travel, especially in the middle of the winter. So, everybody's going to get a shot here. And, they've got the Kings coming back next week. Before that little trip, the back-to-back this weekend's got travel. So, yeah, everybody's going to get their time in here. I think last night, you know how John Tortorella doesn't really talk about stuff like this, but the question was asked, was there any hesitation about going to Ersing instead of Carter? He said no. So, like we were saying the other day, I think that's the plan. They're going to stick to that plan and let the guys, be prepared and ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's the prudent approach. With all these games jumbled into this area, I mean, we got to be reaching that period of time where Felix Sandstrom's conditioning stint is over down with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. So I imagine we're getting close to that at this point. So a decision will have to be made soon, whether he's going to try to get pushed through waivers, or if they're going to send Sam Ersing back down and bring Sandstrom back up. So, I mean, imagine that's probably by this weekend, I would think so.
Yeah, it's coming up. I was trying to do the math on. No, I wasn't. I was. I didn't actually sit down and try to do the math, but I was trying to think of when exactly it happened, and it's got to be coming up soon here, and they're going to have. You got 3 options basically. You got, you try to sneak Sandstrom through waivers. You put Ersing back in Lehigh Valley, or you carry 3 goalies. I don't think they're going to do that third thing.
I don't think so.
12
days ago they sent him down.
Yeah, so it was. I believe it was. We were told the time was 2 weeks, which I assume just translates to 14 days.
Yeah.
That decision is certainly coming, and I'm sure that the folks in charge have a lot better handle on whether or not they are going to be able to sneak him through waivers in this current environment than we do. So I guess we're going to see what happens. But
did Dalkovich get through?
I believe so.
Because yes, I mean, if he got through, I mean, obviously he's making more money, but I thought that was interesting that Carolina did that. But with Carolina, is he with Carolina still? I don't even know. I'm dizzy today. But
the cold medicine is keep creeping up on you there.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So he did clear. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that now from Friedge's tweet, from his Twitter. So,
and to be completely honest with you, I'm honestly not looking at it because I'm trying to figure out what this Provorov situation is all about.
He's with Detroit now, by the way.
Okay. The other red team, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was formerly with Carolina.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, what are you hearing on this Provorov situation?
Well,
Again,
again, we're just kind of waiting to see. I think at this point there is an official roster that is accessible via the web to basically anybody. And right now he's listed as a scratch, but my instinct is that he's there because
he's
the
not
same
warm up.
reason that everybody else thought is because he's not in warm-ups, unless there's a change from what we were told here about his overall status. I think those are those guys, again, because I've been doing this for 14 years now, and I've never seen a player playing a game not taking warm-ups. But
Yeah.
we've the opposite all the time. Guys take warm-ups and don't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just waiting to see what's going on here. Again,
he's a guy that doesn't like to come out of the lineup.
No, right.
Plays through everything.
Yeah,
so
we were told
this would be rare.
We were told that he is in despite not being in warm-ups, but again, that's kind of through some unofficial channels. So we'll see what happens. We still got another 8 minutes here till puck drop, and I'm sure by the time we get into Timmy and Coatsy with the countdown to face-off, we will have the official lineup, and we'll know which way they're going.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a storyline. And if he's not in, why isn't he in? Why is he not taking warm up, even if he is playing? There's a whole host of questions here because, again, this is a guy that has only missed games when he was asymptomatic COVID.
Right.
He played through that shoulder in that one playoff series. I think it was against Pittsburgh. Couldn't even lift his arm. He's a guy that plays through a ton. So this is very interesting that he's not taking warm ups. And Torch said earlier today that no changes except for Erison for Hart. And so what is going on here? Well, as they say in radio parlance, stay tuned and find out.
Maybe he's in the bathroom. Who knows?
Yeah, well, we'd have that in common. But the lines other than that are the same. Combinations are the same. Everything's the same.
Can you need your skate sharpened before warm up? We've seen that happen before.
Well,
right?
If that's the issue, then there's going to be problems.
Oh my! They got so many blades now and stuff like that. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, you just pop them in and out. I'm going to put my my headphone on here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the situation could possibly be there, but if he plays the game, this could be a first. I don't think we've ever seen. I've never seen this, and player not taking warm-ups. And what's his first shift going to be like if that's the case?
Well, at least it's Anaheim.
Yeah, you got that going for you.
Yeah,
and at least they played yesterday, and there was no morning skate today, so that's part of it now too.
Well, there's never
how much time we got. How much time we got there, Rye?
Yeah, at some point I'm going to switch my equipment completely. So you tell me when.
All right, we got 1 minute, Smitty.
All right.
And then we'll join.
Oh, you know what? You know what else is happening tonight?
What's that?
The Flyers are going up against Anthony Stolars.
Oh, Stoley the goalie's got the nod.
Stoley the goalie gets the nod back in Philadelphia, the team that drafted him all those years ago. And I'm glad he's gotten an NHL run. I wish, I'm sad that it's not a very good team, but the NHL's the NHL. And he's been able to stick there for a while, so that's been good to see.
Yeah, I mean, he played some games for the Flyers and had some pretty decent numbers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how many games is, the most games he's played in the season, because he's always been that backup out there to John Gibson. The most he played was 28 in the 21-22 season. And his numbers, let's see here, in 917, not bad. I mean, overall, he's got a 911 save percentage and 291 goals against average. Not bad numbers. But he's a big boy. There's no doubt about that. He's not going to show you a lot of net.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Okay, go ahead.
Change your headset.
All right.
Hit it. Not even sure I'm alive at this point. Yeah, 6-0 loss yesterday. That was about as rough as it could be from a result standpoint. But this is when you are glad that you got a game the next day because you can rinse it right away.
Yeah, this is a big deal here for the Flyers that they have this game next. And the same thing that happened in Toronto. And that was something we talked about last week. The fact that the Flyers got to come back down after Toronto and play Buffalo Sabres the next night. A game that wasn't originally on the schedule. The Flyers would have had to sit in that Toronto game.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, but Buffalo game was moved there, weather things, and they got to come back out and they jumped all over the Sabres. And I think this team expects to do the same thing here tonight in Indiana. They did not play as badly against Boston as they did against Toronto, but there's still a pride game involved because a 6-0 loss is a 6-0 loss, and they don't want anything like that.
Yeah, you don't want this one game to turn into now a run of bad play because they have played well and they won 5 straight road games going into that one yesterday. So you want to get that taste out of your mouth and get back to where you were, enjoy coming to the rink and all the elements that go with it. So you got an inferior opponent in the Ducks, and you got one on Thursday in the Chicago Blackhawks. So get right back to winning.
So we are looking at the lineups here tonight. We do believe that they are going to be the same as they have been the last few games. With a little bit of question because I'm Rock did not take pull-ups, but now looking at the official lineup, he is in the lineup tonight. He might start. For all intents and purposes, good raise, a few eyebrows.
Yeah, that's odd. And for Provorov to miss any time within a game is odd, let alone a game. So this is a developing story, and I'm sure there's some good logical reason behind it, but we just don't know what it is.
See what happens here. But, good news is for the Flyers that they do have him there tonight. It'll be Sam Ersson going in net for Philadelphia, going up against the familiar face. Stolons will get the start tonight for the Ducks. But this is pretty much what we expected out of this back-to-back, even though the Flyers had used both goaltenders yesterday in Boston, as it turned out. But this was going to be Ersson's game. A lot of hockey being played here over the next 2 weeks. All the goaltenders are going to get more time. And even though, again, they had to use both last night, John Tortorella coming back with what the original plan was, which is to use Ersson.
Yeah, stick to your plan, that how you laid out the week, and you give Ersson this game. You got a ton of games coming up. No reason to disrupt your plan based on yesterday. So they're not going to do that, and they're going to move forward. And Ersson's going to get this game. I imagine Hart will be back Thursday, and they'll stick to their plan, which is a good idea.
Well, we'll see how things develop here as we're at time. We're going to pregame show. We're going to send it upstairs to Tim Saunders and Steve Coates. They've got our countdown to face-off. Flyers and the Anaheim Ducks. Here at Wells Fargo Center. Flyers.